Okay, you're asking me, are you ready? I'm still in the hangover. Mamukai was just a breath of fresh air. He's a great celebrity for all those who don't know. He is like Mr. Bean, to the world. We have Mr. Bean. You just look at him and you feel like laughing. Mamukai is the best comedian we have. I mean, and right now also I'm experiencing that. IFPH has been bombarding with so many homeopaths, so many ideas, so many concepts. It's so heavy. I was just feeling like, oh my God, so much the homeopaths have to offer, so much to think in the field of homeopathy, so much to understand, so much to learn. I mean, that was a heavy feeling. And there comes our comedian Mamukai. That was really relaxing. Okay. So I think, yes, I'm ready. And I'm honestly speaking, it's intoxicating. You are IFPH is doing this marathon, and trust me, who is attending this marathon must be really feeling like running on a marathon. There is one speaker after the another, and there is so much. As said, homeopathy is a deep ocean. There's so much to learn, so much to understand. So I was totally lost. Where should I start? So, okay, let me start with a very big good morning. Good morning, IFPH. Good morning, homeopaths. Good morning, homeopathic lovers. I am not here with any very big fat topic, because we have been bombarded enough with such topics almost every day we hear, and since past few hours we have been listening. So I'm not going to discuss anything academic or anything based on literature of homeopathy, but I'll be talking about my experience. Okay, so before I start my talk, yes, my gratitude and salutations to all my teachers from whom I have learned homeopathy. My core knowledge of homeopathy comes from my father, Dr. Nair. He had just exposed me to the world of homeopathy, and he taught me everything that I know, I should say. Later on, I went ahead to my medical college from, of course, I was in Mumbai, India, blessed with so many homeopaths. I got an opportunity to learn from almost all of them. And then I came across Dr. Milind Rao. He is like my homeopathic mother, because he taught me so many things which I could not understand from anyone else. So all my salutations and gratitude to all my gurus. Yes, here now I am in England, and homeopathic world is very different here. So I would like to personally share my experiences that I had. Back in India, the homeopathic world is different, and here. So what happened here is questions like, oh, homeopathy. Oh, what is that? Oh, you are a homeopath. So what do you do? So how will you help me with homeopathy? I mean, these were the questions that I was bombarded with. Trust me, initial days were frustrating, because I came to a world wherein the people, the common men, were not aware of what homeopathy is all about. They had some idea, some glimpse about, okay, homeopathy is a healing science, but they were not very sure about what it is and how it is going to help them. So that was the first challenge that I came across. So I mean, I had to actually research on where do I begin, because back home, India flourished with homeopaths. Everyone knows what homeopathy is. They know when to knock the door of a homeopath. But here they were not. So it was and I mean a direct switch, twist in my story, wherein I had to work from the ground level to understand where do I start. Okay, I think I forgot to share my screen. So let me share my screen. Of course, I have not. Is my screen audible, visible now? Sorry. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I mean the screen just goes. Yes, this was my Guru Vandana. Guru Vandana is salutations to all my gurus. That is my teachers. This is my father, Dr. Nair. That's my homeopathic father and my biological father. As I said, this is my homeopathic mother from whom I learned. So here comes. Yes. Okay, so my question, this was the words that I was constantly bombarded. Why are people asking me all these things? Why are people not aware of what homeopathy is all about? Why are people not absolutely oblivious of the fact that we have this great science, this great healing science? So, as I said, this was a groundwork that I have to do. So why I'm going to talk about this is there is so much that we are talking today about homeopathy. Why homeopathy? How homeopathy? And today, especially with the IFPH, what we are doing is there something wrong with my screen? I can't see if I am able to do that properly.
It's okay. We can see that. You
Okay.
can continue.
Okay, so see, we are talking about upliftment of homeopathy. We are trying, there are so many means and resources. We are trying to stand strong and talk loud and just broadcast ourselves to the authority saying that, hey, look, I am here. Look, we are homeopaths. Look what we are doing. We all are doing this. But somewhere I personally felt that this is like banging your head against the wall and getting frustrated. So I started thinking like, I mean, what should we be doing? So what I understood and what I am doing right now here is I try to take out 5 or 10 minutes or maximum 15 minutes and give a short description about what homeopathy is all about to anyone who is giving me a call and asking for an appointment, because there are people who don't know. I mean, these are the crowd who doesn't know. So I feel this is the groundwork that we homeopaths need to do. We are working on the higher levels. We are doing the research, we are submitting our papers, we are as we can see now with the COVID, so much of homeopathic flourishment is going on around all over. But groundwork is very, very essential, because if you look into the political side, the politicians goes out and conducts rallies and speeches, and they just talk about what they are going to do for the next 5 years once they are elected. The same happens with any product. If you look into any product that has been brought out by a manufacturing company, they spend millions in so-called advertisement, wherein they just explain the benefits of using that product. So the consumer is being made aware of how beneficial your product is going to be. So similarly, I feel that every homeopath need to take out at least 5 or 10 minutes with every individual that you come across to explain what homeopathy is. Now, why this is important is this is as good as, I mean, how I consider is, yes, there are these pioneers in homeopathy, like we have IFPH who are working at the top level and fighting against the authorities. So we here at the ground level need to work with the layman, the common man, and explain them how homeopathy is. This is as good as giving them the right to vote and decide which political leader you want for the next 5 years. Similarly, you understand what our science is and you use your rational thinking, you use your logical mind to understand which science do you want to opt for. Of course, ours is a healing science. There are other healing science. So you have to decide what you need to do with your body. So this is what I do, and this is how I work with my patients here. And I am talking today about this because, as I said, universally, if every homeopath start teaching the layman in their own crowd, in their own vicinity, in their own county, in their own state, what exactly homeopathy is, I'm sure every person with a sensible brain can definitely opt for homeopathy. So when layman directly decides that I'm going for homeopathy, we are strong. We don't have to fight against any authorities, because the common mass is deciding that, yes, there is this homeopath in my vicinity and I'm going for that. I decide that me and my family is going, because we need to train, or we need to advertise, we need to broadcast our benefits to every family so that they can decide for themselves what exactly they would like to do. So I think again my screen has stopped, so I'll just again try to do that. Can you see my screen now? There's some issues.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, so this is what I was trying to explain. I need a doctor. So why the first thing that I try to explain the patients is, why do you get into this feeling that I need a doctor? So this is how I work. First, explain what is health. then explain what is disease. So what is ease and what is disease? So when you are in a state of disease, when you're not feeling at ease, it is at that point you feel that, no, I'm not comfortable with the state I am. I'm not able to work efficiently, whatever symptoms it is. So I need a help. I need a medical help. That is when you come with the thinking that I need a doctor. So our responsibility should start here. When a person thinks that I need a doctor, we should work at this level wherein our advertisement goes in such a perfect way that the moment a family decides, oh, my son needs a doctor, my wife needs a doctor, a homeopath should come into the mind. And for this, what I try doing is, first I try to explain them what is sick. Why do you come under the feeling of I am sick? So in order to explain this, I tell them, what are you all about? You all are human beings who are surviving in this world to do something for the higher purpose of your existence. Everyone is here with a motto. So you're definitely doing something or the other for the world. Okay. So when you are efficiently doing something, you are very healthy. When there is a pause in your working efficiency or anything that you want to execute, that is when you come into a state known as disease. So I take example. I keep this in my clinic, or if I am on a web call or in a Zoom call, I show them this definition of WHO, which states that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. I'm sharing this today because I have found this very beneficial. This definition helps us a lot to start a conversation with the patient, wherein I explain them that physical well-being. Now, what is physical well-being? The health has been described as the three components: physical, mental, and social. So I go and explain them now what is physical well-being. Physical well-being is nothing but a state of well-being wherein anything associated with your body, only with your body. It may be external aspect of your body or internal aspect of your body. Like, for example, I am under the weather, just because of too much of heat or too much of snow, too much of cold rains, you are not able to work. Okay, you have come down with headache. So it's an external cause. Now today we have virus, we have bacteria. Okay, a burn on your skin. So this is an external causes which can bring into a state of disease. You are not at ease. Similarly, anything internal, a cyst inside your body organ, or a swelling or acidity, burning, it can be anything internally your body. So if anything goes wrong with the internal aspect or the external aspect of your body, you fall under the criteria of sickness. Second is mental well-being. Now, this is very easily relatable. I find it very easy to explain this to the patient, anyone, we don't need that higher literate class. You can just go ahead and explain these things to your patient, that mental health, well-being is anything. You are not in a state of mind to concentrate on your studies. If there is disappointment, love. If you have a fight with your wife, is everything okay? I just find some disturbance happening here. Am I audible? Am I visible? Somebody please, because I'm not able to see anything. It says network error. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, madam, audible, very much. Very much. Please.
Oh, I'm very sorry I'm asking this because there is some issues at my end, I guess. I just suddenly everything goes
It's okay,
on,
madam. It's okay. It's okay. Very much audible, madam. If any disturbance, immediately we will intervene. Nothing to worry about.
Okay. So I was talking about mental disturbances, So I go ahead and explain the patients, your state of well-being is so very important that you fight with your wife and you're not able to focus in your office work. You have a disagreement with your mother and you are not able to concentrate on your studies. So this is how the mental well-being is very, very important. Similarly, social well-being, social well-being, you have so many emotions like embarrassment, fear, jealousy, guilt. So these all things comes from your interaction with the social world. Especially in this COVID pandemic, we very much understand how social well-being is very essential. You are all inside your own house, been restricted from interacting with your society. So this has brought in so much of changes in the mental well-being, in the social well-being of everyone. In fact, COVID has made us realize that society and social well-being is so very essential. So I take out time to explain patients, there has to be a balance. Your body should be perfectly all right. Your mental ability, you should be devoid of all those wild emotions. At the same time, your interaction with your friends, your interaction with your workplace colleagues, your interaction with your relatives, your interaction with the outside world, everything needs to be balanced. And I go ahead and explain them that this balance is what gives us health. So if at all, it's like this, how I explain. This is nothing but, what is vital force. I mean, I cannot go ahead and give them the medical definition of vital force to the common mass here. So we need to come down to a ground level and talk in very simple language and very palatable language, so that the patient understands what is this physician trying to say. So when you talk about balancing, it is like, a person, I mean, you have fear of robbers. Okay, fear of robbers is a very healthy emotion. Because of fear of robbers, you lock your doors, you lock your windows, and you go and sleep peacefully. But if fear of robbers is not allowing you to sleep peacefully, that means it is unhealthy. So there is always a change, I mean, there is the emotion moves from one end to another end. You have your right side brain and you have left side. You have your positive side, you have your negative side. So you have your good qualities, you have your bad qualities. So we human beings have to balance this. And who is balancing this? This is the question, wherein we get stuck, or else the patients are not able to understand what exactly. So this is where we need to explain that there is something known as a dynamic energy. There is something known as the vital force inside our body. So there is this force, this energy, which is balancing your emotions, which is balancing your relationship with the outside world, which is balancing your physical state. That is also related to your immunity. So we homeopaths need to take time to explain a little bit of vital force, a little bit of immunity, how this balancing is very important. So once the layman has been understood that the balance, the physical well-being, the emotional well-being, the mental well-being, these things are very essential. And hello. If you are able to do this sort of explanations to the patient, this definitely helps us. I think there is some issues from my end. I'm not able to see anything. And okay, so we need to make them understand physical well-being, mental well-being, and social well-being. So this balancing is very important, so that this understanding helps the patient to decide, now where do I need to go. Now why this understanding is important is then we go ahead and explain them why homeopathy helps them. Now homeopathy is the only science. Homeopathy is the only science which works on all these three dynamic platforms. So in order to help this understanding very clear, I explain this, the spiritual vital force. The spiritual vital force animates a material organism, means it rules the body. It rules with unbounded sway. Unbounded sway is this change, Okay, I've lost a person in my life. I'm crying, I am mourning. This is very natural. But my vital force will see to it that I will mourn only for, say, 10 days, 15 days, 20 days. But if my vital force is deviated, if the balancing capacity of the vital force is deviated to such an extent that if I keep mourning for, say, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year after the death of my beloved, this is definitely not normal. It is at that stage when you come down to so-called deviation, so-called disease, so-called unhealthy state. So when you explain this to the patient that your vital energy has been deviated, your energy is no more able to come back to that balancing state. So that is a role of the vital force, the unbounded sway. You just go from the normal state and the abnormal state. Now, anger, I always use this example of anger. Anger is a very natural emotion. It's a very healthy emotion. But if your anger is growing beyond a limit, it becomes very aggressive. It is just there in your system all the time. You are very angry for every silly reason. Your anger tends into violence. Your anger becomes very rude and cruel to those people around you. It is at that time when you need to treat your anger. So what happens between a healthy anger and a unhealthy anger? That is the deviation of the vital force. Your vital force is not able to bring your unhealthy anger to the normal plane. So this sort of explanation helps them to understand that, yes, this energy has been deviated. Now, why do we need to explain this vital force is we also need to explain them that the mind can freely employ these living healthy instruments for the higher purpose. So why is this important is if your vital energy is balancing all these three things, the social environment, the emotional and the mental and the physical level of your constitution, then only you are able to do your functioning properly. So this is important because this is how homeopaths do the case taking. So why I have faced this question, why are homeopaths taking such a long time? Why do you want to know about my sleeping patterns? Why do you want to know about my relationship with my husband? Why do you want to know about what happened between me and my boss in the workplace? So these questions can be very nicely explained if you make them understand that a homeopath works on this dynamic plane. A dynamic balancing mechanism is very nicely understood by only homeopathic science, where we focus on the physical aspect, we focus on the mental aspect, and we focus on the social aspect. So while case taking, we ask you questions so that we homeopaths understand where is your energy deviated. To what extent is this deviation of energy affecting your body? So the questions is focused either on the physical symptoms or it might be focused on the mental symptoms, because I also explain them that we homeopaths have been trained. There are patients who comes and ask me, oh, so I have not read this in any homeopathic books. This is not seen anywhere in Wikipedia, in Google. Trust me, this is very important for us to make this very, very clear to all the people, all the common people, let me say laymen, that information about homeopathy is not very appropriately given in the Google, in Wikipedias. There are very few sites which gives authentic information. So it is we homeopaths who has to train them, who has to show them, who have to enlighten them about how do we work. We are asking you so many questions. At times a patient feels this is so odd. Why do you ask such weird questions? This is very important that we show them that we are working on all these three levels. Your body is functioning just because all these three aspects are essential for your healthy well-being. I actually take out time, and it's not me. There are many homeopaths in this country who do that. And of course, worldwide, most of the homeopaths might be doing that. But today I thought about talking about this because we keep talking about the wider dimension of resolving the obstacles of homeopathy. We think about the many, many different and most Herculean task of uplifting our science. But I think this is a very simple job that every homeopath can do to uplift our homeopathic science is attract all the people towards homeopathic science. And only by explaining what our science is actually doing, we can attract more crowd towards us. So if every man, every family, every people around us understands that homeopathy is the only science which will take care of your body as a whole. Homeopathy treats a man, so we don't treat symptoms. We all read this, but is the layman out there understanding what exactly is the meaning of this sentence? So we need to make them understand that when we say that we don't treat symptoms, we don't treat diseases, we don't treat pathology, we treat a man. Homeopathy treats a man is we take into consideration your whole, your entire, your holistic well-being. And that is nothing but when your emotions are affected. So for this, we need to really focus on explaining how your emotions are affecting you, how your relationship with your boss at your workplace, how your relationship with your teacher in your school is affecting your studies at home. You are very quarrelsome and fighting with your younger brother just because you had a fight outside with your best friend. So how is this emotion being transferred from the outside world to your internal world? Husband wife having a fight, and this argument has been cascaded, and at the workplace that man becomes very quarrelsome and he throws tantrums at the colleagues in the workplace. So and after that he comes down with headache, and then his BP shoots. So you actually need to take time to explain this cycle to the people around us. And we need to tell them that our science, homeopathic science, is the only science which actually considers all these things. This is known as holistic treatment. We need to understand all the dimensions of your existence in this world. So when a patient, when a man, a woman, when anybody understands that, yes, I am nothing but a physical, mental and social well-being. So my emotions are affected, my life is getting affected. If my relationship with my friends is getting affected, I carry that burden, and that creates lots of turmoil inside me, and that brings up with pathology. If every man understands this cycle, every man is empowered to understand that, yes, that science is going to focus only on my leg. That science will ask me to get an investigation for my kidney. But yes, this science will ask me about my kidney. This science will ask me about my water intake. This science will ask me about my sleeping patterns. But yes, this science will ask me about what is my relationship with my family members. This science will also ask me what is the emotional turmoil that I am feeling. So this is the science. This is the man. This is the homeopath who is going to treat me as a whole. So I think, I'm talking so much because this is the way I started building my practice in this country, And when I slowly started interacting with the homeopaths around, I realized, yes, people are using this method. People means the homeopaths are using this method. We need to come down to the ground level to work with the ground workers. What are the ground workers in the field of homeopathic fraternity? The patients. So we need, there are so many webinars, seminars, certificate programs, academic work going on, so much of research. We are doing so much to uplift ourselves, to uplift our knowledge, to stand strong and say, yes, I'm a homeopath. I know so many things. But along with this, we need to actually, I have done this. Many homeopaths are doing this. Every one of us should do this. We actually need to make a small presentation, and that should be ready in our desktop, wherein the definition of WHO is there, our vital force. This, why I'm emphasizing on this? When I came here, and I used to get teenage patients, and these teenagers used to ask me, I saw this video on YouTube that talks something of homeopathy. And trust me, I went and saw on YouTube the explanations of homeopathy. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I should not be saying this. Wikipedia still carries nonsense about homeopathy. And we are not able to do anything. So let's forget. I have stopped doing that, I've stopped screaming and saying, oh, we are not like that. We are like this. Look at us. We are best. And we are doing the beautiful task. I really feel that's a pain. Instead of that, start educating the mass. I have started this small PPTs and small YouTubes wherein, I show my patients, I show every teenager, especially, I believe in the teenagers. Teenagers are the future generation. Teenagers are, what are they known as Generation Z. They carry this question, why? And that is a very good question. They are just not ready to listen to anything. Why should I listen to you? Why should I eat this? Why should I not go for a party? So that question why is very good. So it is very, very important that if you have any teenagers around, young generations, Train them, teach them, show them what is right homeopathy. Because the generation who has learned wrong facts about homeopathy, it's a bit difficult to make them understand what we are, how good we are. But if we also work more efficiently, more time if we spend with the new generations, I think we can be more successful. I mean, yes, we have. I always see it like this. We in the hierarchy of the homeopathic fraternity, there are this superior leaders. We have these warriors, the soldiers who are standing at the forefront. The people who are fighting with authorities, who are writing letters to the ministers and writing letters to the health authorities, fighting for the rights of homeopathy. Let them do their work. But we homeopaths at the ground level need this. We need to take hold of every small. And similarly, when you go for your wedding parties or any sort of social gatherings, you should hold a small discussion, a 5-minute or a 10-minute discussion, just enlightening the people about what homeopathy works. I have seen homeopaths talking loud about themselves. Oh, I treated this case and I treated this case. No. That will help you to boost yourself, to boost your confidence, to make you feel better. But instead, along with that, if you take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to explain, we are working on a holistic plane. What is the dynamic energy which is balancing these three things, and how these three things, the social, the mental, physical well-being is important for your existence. And this is nothing but the definition of vital force. And homeopathy is based on the definition of vital force. This is one core principle which we are following. I have seen YouTubers, I have seen I don't want to label anyone, but I've seen people talking about how law of similars is the basis of homeopathy, and how potentization and trituration, the pharmaceutical products have been explained, on YouTube's or on wherever, on Google or Wikipedia, to explain homeopathy. And I am like, oh my God, how can someone explain saliva taken from a rabid dog is being treated for this child who is screaming and shouting? I mean, if you look into articles in Google, there was some case wherein rabid dog saliva, lysinum, is made from rabid dog, and that's a poison, and you're taking that saliva, you're making medicines, and you're giving for temper tantrums of this child. So, this is what has been explained to the common people. So tell me how the common people will believe in our science. So that is a wrong information. Law of similars is there, but law of similars is to be taught to homeopaths. Law of similars need not be shared with the common people, because they are not going to understand. Why do we need to make them understand how our medicines are being made? Why do they need to understand in depth about the principles and the dynamic mechanisms of the functioning of our medicines? No, we don't have to explain so much to them. Isn't it? See, if you look into any product, any advertisement for that matter, like for example, a shaving cream or else a hair oil, they don't go into the dynamism of showing, oh, this is how we make and this is how you're going to. No, they just give a glimpse, like, 3 seconds advertisement, and they show how are you going to be benefited with our product, right? Tesla cars, any car mechanism, they just show, 3-second advertisements, they just show the speed, the efficiency, and the beauty of that car. So that is enough. This is what I feel is a vital principle, vital force, and just explain how this 3 functioning is important for your well-being. Now, if the patient understands, yes, this is what I am physically, mentally, emotionally. My emotions are disturbed because I had a fight with my neighbor. I am not feeling well because I ate something from outside. Every man should have this intelligence to understand what is going wrong inside him. Then he will understand that, okay, let me go to a homeopath, because homeopathic science is the only science where all these 3 dimensions of my existence will be taken into consideration. This is, I always tell the patients, I am the boss of my life. Media is talking so much about vaccinations. Your other science is talking about the benefits of so-and-so medicines and so-and-so medicines. Let everybody do whatever they want to do, but you do what you should be doing with your body. You are the boss of your life. You are the driver of your car. So you decide where you want to go. Do you want to drive to a homeopath, or do you want to drive with your problems to someone else? You decide. And how do you decide? Because enlightenment, If you actually see, we homeopaths, we are learned individuals. Okay, when you talk about the common people, for that matter, you talk about computer engineers or IAS officers, their knowledge about homeopathy is far less than what we know, isn't it? So for me, I mean, when I say layman's, everybody other than homeopaths. A teacher, she must be a PhD in computer science for that matter, teaching in a great university, but still her knowledge about homeopathic science, about homeopathic principles, how homeopathy works efficiently may be little less than what we know. So for everyone, we need to teach them, you are the boss. You decide that your body is working on all these three planes, and today you are in the state of disease. Today you are not fine. Today you feel that you need a doctor, is because there is a disharmony in your energy levels, and this disharmony can be balanced by taking into consideration all these three aspects, and this is done none other than your homeopath. The intelligent thinking, this also I explain, I spend time and explain, every man is blessed with rational thinking powers. Reason gifted mind is what Hahnemann says, reason gifted mind is the tool that we have been blessed with. So you think for yourself, why do you allow the TV advertisement to decide which vaccination or why this medicine I should take? Why do you allow the doctor to decide, should I go for surgery or should I not go for surgery? Should I go for these investigations? And so, I mean, the common people has been bombarded. They have been bombarded by the outside world to decide for themselves. It's the outside world who's deciding. No. It's time for us homeopaths to empower every man with this knowledge and give them the rights to say, you think with your own rational mind. You have your logical abilities, your reason gifted mind. Now you know what is health. As per WHO definition, you know what is health. As per the definition, we homeopaths are following these three criteria. So now you decide what you want. Stop talking about what is happening in the television, in the newspapers, in the social media. You can take all those informations, but at the end of the day, you sit down and decide. I leave all my patients, I'll not say there are homeopaths, we take a call 10 to 15 minutes, or else we ask the patient to come down. That is known as free consultations. If you look into most of the websites of European doctors, I should say, I am in England, so we have this web page wherein for clicking appointments, we mention this, for free consultation. For first free 15 minutes consultation is free. At the end of this 10-15 minutes, after explaining what health is as per WHO, what we do as per WHO, we are the only people in this world, only physicians. Homeopathic physicians are the only physicians in this world who take into consideration all these three aspects as defined by WHO. I explain this, I clarify their doubts. Yes, there are many people, how my emotions affects me. Why do you think that you are talking too much about my dreams? Yes, we need to take time to explain the small things to every people that come to us, and then leave them with this power that, yes, you go home, think, sit down, think, relax, and then come.
Hi, ma'am. Your time is finishing. Next,
yes, I am also done. I am done. This is what I wanted to say. I've left this green apples and you have to select which is the best apple. So I thank you very much. And this is what I would like to tell everybody, that along with all the teachings and the learnings and sharing knowledge, we should also focus on the learning. I think this is very important for us to do this groundwork.
Oh my God. You listen me. The next speaker is coming late. You can 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh.
That's my guest. He's from Dubai. He's coming late.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, both of them coming late. He informed me so that you can enjoy the another 10 minutes. No problem.
Okay.
Your talk is very, very, very energetic and energy talk, Suppose you are take water and speak out.
No. So yes, I am happy. Thank you very much for the extended 2 to 3 minutes. But you know what, with IFPH, I'm been as said, it's common for everyone.
Okay, I know that. Yesterday, all night you are okay. You know that.
that's the passion being contaminated by IFPH, I should say. You know, IFPH is relentlessly working. So that was a small effort from my end.
You are intoxicated with the IFPH. That's good.
That is the right word. That is the right word. No, because as I said, we are in this country because homeopaths in this country are in this country. So they have not seen the other beautiful side. They have heard what is happening in India. But for me, I lived with my father, homeopath. My family had 10 to 11 homeopaths. My world around was side of homeopathy. And then I came here and then I see, oh my God, what is this? So IFPH is working towards what I wanted. You know, this is what the best thing that I like about IFPH is you are not focused on me and my science. No, it is our science and it's upliftment of our science. So today I thought about talking about this because we all talk so much, you know, I mean, Dr. Shajid, everyone for that matter, we talk about going against the government and saying, yes, come on, look at me, come on, look at me. You know, we all are doing that. I mean, you all are doing that. I thought, let me talk about something which we can do. We, when I say we are the ground level workers, the basic soldiers. So we need to interact, and our interaction which is with the common people, you know. So I think this is what I wanted to say. And we all talk about being unprejudiced, you know, physicians should be unprejudiced. So I give this to the patients, you know, I say we work on this principle, unprejudiced. So I'm not going to bias with my opinion. I'm not going to allow you to get biased by others' opinions. You have your friends, your television, your media giving you so many information. Go to so-and-so specialist, go to so-and-so surgeon, get so-and-so investigations done. You spend millions on so-and-so hospital. So I use this word, you know, be unprejudiced. Go ahead and think rationally. So it's like voting, you know, when you go and decide that I'm going to vote for so-and-so political leader, you might have attended the rally of so-and-so political leader and so-and-so political leader. But at the end, when you go into the polling station, you use your logical mind. You use your own ability to think and decide, yes, I think that leader was good, so I should vote for that. Similarly, it's you, your body, your health, your survival in this world. So now you decide. So I think this is the most important message on this beautiful day. We are celebrating Homeopathic Day. So Dr. Hahnemann has worked so immensely. It's been more than 200 years and we are still talking about him, and we are surviving because of homeopathic science. So I think from my end, this is a small message I would like to convey to the world out there, that everyone needs to take a part. Not only the pioneers or the frontline workers of our homeopathic fraternity, like Ismail said, so you know, you are the boss and you're managing so many things. You're working with the government department, talking for the rights of homeopathic science. You are doing your job. You people like you should be doing that higher authority job. But we at the ground level should do this work. You know, this is what I think. And also, you know, I mean, I had some patients who used to, very intelligent patients. It's very difficult to manage intelligent patients because they go in depth about asking about how this dynamic science is and what do you think? I had a fight with my wife and why should I get a headache? You know, so it's very important that we homeopaths read about positive thinking, subconscious mind, how the dynamic powers. There are many spiritual books. Okay, spiritual books is nothing but, you know, I mean, I will not bring religion. Religion is different, spirituality is different. Being spiritual well-being is very, very essential, because spirituality is connecting with the outside world. You know, you have your fundamental principles for yourself, some core values that you hold for yourself. Like, for example, I go and steal from a shop. It's ethically wrong. It's morally wrong. But I carry that stolen object. I come home and I'm not able to sleep. I feel guilty. Now, if that guilt stays in my mind, I'm going to come down with some pathology. So this books, there are so many books which explains how you have to be spiritually, fundamentally, and very ethically and morally correct. in your well-being. Your well-being depends upon your spiritual health. So that is why this sort of understanding is needed for we homeopaths, so that we can give this knowledge to the patients. So it is not any sort of spiritual sessions or enlightenment sessions. It's just being aware of what you are doing with that patient. So I think I should stop now. I have lost my energy to talk more. So I think I'll stop. And yes, this is all I have to say. And thank you, IFPH, for giving me this opportunity to talk. And thank you, homeopathy. Because of homeopathy, we all are here together. Yes, I'm done.
Thank you so much, Dr. Padma Priya Nair. It was really enthusiastic, very good information about homeopathy. We need to go through the ground level. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I forgot to ask, is there any doubt or further clarification? Because honestly, it's a huge subject, it's a vast subject. You need to read and you need to understand so many things. But still, if there is something which I can answer, I may take your queries, or else we have masters on this panel. They might be able to answer the queries if at all there are any.
So how many years you are in UK practicing?
2007 to almost 13 years. Yes, it's been almost 13 years, and now it's improving and things are progressing, but initially were those days of frustration. So eventually we learn, how to cope up with the environment, adaptation methods. So I think this is one adaptation method which I have really found useful. I started talking about homeopathy in some social gatherings, even when you're going to drop the child at the school, there's a lady saying hi, hello, and if she happens to talk about any health issues, take extra 5 or 10 minutes and just explain, not about homeopathy, about your well-being. What is your well-being? What is your emotions? What is your physical state? And how this imbalance is creating panic inside you. How this imbalance inside you is creating the disease state inside you. And then they come up with queries. And then you start introducing about we homeopaths are working on those lines. So I think that has helped me. So that's the reason I shared it, so that, all of us should do that.
What is the method of treating diabetic mellitus? Diabetic mellitus.
Diabetic?
Mellitus. How you treat that?
Okay.
Is it curable or non-curable?
No. See, I mean, for me, again, like every homeopath, I go through the routine case-taking process. We take into consideration the pathological state, and we repertorize the case the way we all homeopaths do, and depending upon the pathology involved and the susceptibility of the patient, we decide the potency. And cases come up, with great results, because diabetes, it depends, where do you stand in this scale of diabetes. Similarly, there are times when our drugs, the so-called well-selected drugs fails. There are times when our potency is not right. So every patient will show his or her own unique follow-up. So I will not say it is curable or not curable. We are helping diabetes patients the way we help any other pathology. We are helping diabetes patients if the patient is on the borderline, definitely, but there are cases wherein we are not able to help them bring their diabetes under control, but the state of well-being is much, much better with homeopathic medicines. So this is where I again, emphasize on the patients, that yes, there are certain set of patients who comes and ask, oh, are you against allopathic medicines? Are you against radiotherapy and physiotherapy? No. You continue your medicines, you continue the tablets that your conventional treatment has given you, but along with that, you start with our medicines so that you start getting that well-being. A sense of well-being will come only with homeopathic medicines. Those tablets will give you relief from the physical symptoms, but that state of well-being comes from us. So eventually continue with our medicines, and then you will realize that, yes, I am much, much, much better, so I have to reduce those medicines. This is how we manage diabetes and, of course, all the pathologies.